adventure.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many new formulas do you think you're going to see about the lack of definition of the term sleep?
After this seminar, one.
After the seminar,
Yeah.
Yeah, some people really like the level of detail that Spycraft delivered, and that we defined everything.
Right.
That you
and that will continue for future Spycraft products.
Right.
We're not changing the tone of that line.
Right, and at no point will you abandon to have to decide. We wanted to provide, Spycraft 2 really was about helping people adjudicate. How do you, what do you do?
Right.
Like, what are the things that could possibly, you might not think about by being asleep? Or, about sleeping. Like, well, how hard is it to wake you up and things like that. Yeah, I mean, it seems obvious if you think about it, but at the same time, are you vulnerable to sneak attack? Are you all the things that that D20 has given us and may just consider, and as designers and as players. So that was important, and we went out of our way to define that and to look at that and show we did think this through. We are trying to provide you something that's very complete, that is going to give you that framework if you have to adjudicate, because at the time, Living Spycraft is on. And those questions, we wanted to help our judges. We wanted to help people that were running through it, because we don't, in a tournament environment, you have to take those things into consideration. You don't want to have a fight at the table about what sleeping means. You really don't. Having been on one side of those and not being the guy who's arguing about the rules, it's tough. So we want to help them out and then say, like, okay, this is how it works. We can go to the book. The book will be our neutral arbiter. And that's part of why there is how the detail works in Spycraft 2.0 is to make sure that you can adjudicate those situations. Although most of the times, even we would just go, we'll wing it, because we have that player pact at the table, that the way the game is running for us, so we don't need to do that. But you can always point back to it, so you don't get in pedantic arguments about it.
That was what you meant, right? Okay.
Yes.
We didn't drag that a billion miles off topic.
Did you have a follow-up question, Alan?
Well, yeah, well, basically, people's other question that I would do is one of the changes that we made is it was just a matter of getting down to the content compared to how short it's
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and a lot of this kind of conditions,
The new stress.
The actual condition list, right?
Oh, so you're using the FantasyCraft rules for conditions.
That is
That's
exactly why we did it.
That's
that right there. Yeah.
We did that for you, my friend.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and again, I've run this game over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I know that, like, I was like, okay, how does Shaken work exactly? And I feel like I know Shaken, it was like sort of a continuum. There's like, was it Frightened and Shaken, or
yeah.
Frightened and Frightened and Terrified?
Frightened and Terrified.
Yeah, and so like having to remember like how those steps go and at what point in the modifiers changing and things, and we could do, and we looked at it and said, you know what? If they stack, will that cover it?
Yeah.
And can we just make it one condition? Can
yeah.
we just make it
one condition, one effect chain? Yeah.
I love the way that subdual and stress damage work in this one with the stacking of fatigue.
We were really nervous when we came up with that. It was like, are we maybe taking this a little too far? But after we play tested it, it just ran like grease lightning.
Well, yeah. So you can knock people out reliably. Stress and subdual damage are truly equal to lethal damage in play. It's not just about DPS anymore. You can knock some guys really tough to take down with your knife. You may try to club him and knock him out. And you can do that because it does encourage a death spiral. It does allow a reliable way to knock people out. It's not like you feel one safe, boom. That was kind of stress or subdual in a lot of ways in 2.0 can be save or die. Somebody's knocked out, coup de grace, it's over.
But to get back to your point, one of the things that we love is that when we first started working on this, and we said, new system, guys, it's Mastercraft, which it was made for a whole bunch of different reasons. Mastercraft served Crafty games in a lot of different ways, but the primary one was, Spycraft 2.0 is a very, we love Spycraft 2.0. We think everybody that plays the game loves it. we think more people will love it if we make these changes. And initially there was a lot of concern, and that's fair. People had no idea what we're doing. Why are you changing my game?
Well, other popular game systems have thrown the baby out with the bathwater
Right.
on an edition change. Won't name names.
And what's so gratifying here is that with all the PDF response and all the response that we've seen with the book, I can honestly say we haven't seen a single person come back and say, you know, I love what you've done in Mastercraft, but no, I like Spycraft 2.0 more. I'm sure there are some people out there, and that's why we're going to continue making Spycraft 2.0. But literally every single person who's talked to us has said that they like Mastercraft more, and it's just.
Maybe they just can't say it to our face.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. But it's just awesome to have that, to know that we weren't crazy when we were putting this together.
Validation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next. Nothing?
Come on, this is too easy.
Yeah. We're not done.
I did get a chance to thank you very much, but in a world of Craft, you guys have the
Treasure. Yeah, my baby. I love those treasure tables. So,
I mean, it's got a lot of things in there that are kind of those statements where it's like, oh yeah, where did that come from?
right.
And in most systems settings, it's like, they don't really tell you, right?
Mhm.
You have to pick up the pride, and it's not that there's no consistency, every GM has that moment where that question is asked, you get three other things, and none of them is about being
Right.
and that really helps in just getting that out of the way.
This goes back to the whole behavioral design thing, where we when I was writing the treasure tables and I was running it by Alex and making changes based on his feedback, and it was very important to me that the treasure tables make sense. It makes sense that if you go and kill a bunch of brigands, that you're going to find a chest of coins. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you kill a bunch of brigands that you're going to find, you know, the artifact of, you know, the biggest, baddest god in the world, because chances are they're not going to have it. It was important to me that monsters that just didn't value coin don't carry it. Instead, they wind up having. Hi. Okay. Okay. Instead, they wind up having, you know, these like predators, for instance. Predators tend to carry a lot more trophies.
So they have fangs or
Right.
claws or pieces of other things inside them.
Right. And yeah, so there was a lot of work that went into what makes sense here, and also there's a lot of work that went into it. Not everything. First of all, you can get treasure that's valueless. I love that. I love that it's possible to actually roll junk on the tables. Not frequently, but you can do it. You can find regular gear straight out of the Chapter 4 table. You can find a Tarrasque skull off these tables.
You can find a stuffed Tarrasque.
You can find a stuffed Tarrasque. Yeah.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things. The nice thing is it's really extensible. You know, if you have, let's say, the basic core books, you know, you have the treasure tables in there and you have to roll on them. But what happens when you buy another thing and throw it in? Well, you're gonna need a treasure table. But now, by divorcing the treasure you get by keeping it to sort of picks and the type of thing you get or the value you get, it does open that up. The other thing that I really like about our treasure system is that it keeps treasure special. You know, it's not like, well, I'm 10th
Which
level.
is the same case with Magic.
10th level, every fight gives me 90,000 gold pieces. Now, I'm going to need an army of guys to move my haul, you know, from point A to point B. You know, I've got my personal banker and everything else. Like, you don't need that. Like, despite the fact that you may have killed 50 stinking goblins in one fight, and that was nice and epic, the reward for you is getting better things, rather than, and in the case of coins, like more coins.
Yeah, you're actually adding your threat level. You're incorporating the threat level you're playing at into the treasure rolls. So
and the number of things you've killed, and sometimes if you're fighting in Slayer. But
Yeah.
what you're not doing is you're not getting. I've killed 50 goblins. I'm getting 50 goblins coin. You know, I'm not getting that coin 50 times. Instead, I'm getting those things.
it's one
that are
treasure
amped
roll
up.
per encounter, and if the encounter is big.